first system unlock to ensuring that we know that all ECD programs are safe and conducive for learning. We've got data on them, and we can support them in this quality journey going forward. And this is our dashboard, just to show like how we've been progressing. To date, we've got just over 6,000 new ECD programs that's come into the system over the last year. We've got a total of 12,000 applications that we're busy processing. All applications and systems are live in all our provinces. All provinces have been trained on this process. And we've now started phase 2 of our registration drive, which is all about ensuring that ECD programs are meeting all the minimums, norms and standards. And as we did with the first phase, the bronze phase, it's always been done in a public-private partnership method where civil society plays a critical role in either supporting the process design or supporting our ECD programs on the ground with their digital applications, with their document uploads. And then in the second phase, which is all about ECD programs meeting the minimum norms and standards, again, civil society will play such an important role in guiding our ECD programs on ensuring that they meet their compliance and help them with the upload of their documents so that we can assess the applications. Also been very grateful that over the last 3 weeks, through another public-private partnership and collaboration with the YES initiative, Holland and Youth at Work, we've been able to, or we will be able to place another 100 social auxiliary workers by today and tomorrow in districts and provincial offices to support our district and provincial officials with all the additional administration that they need to do in processing all these applications. And we're encouraged by another beautiful example of a public-private partnership where we can both strengthen ECD delivery by enabling centre registration and subsidy application over the next year, and also create meaningful structured work opportunities for young social service professionals, especially in our underserviced communities. So going forward, as I've mentioned, public-private partnership, collaboration with the civil society in this registration drive is critical to success. And we've been working with all the NGOs that's been delivering such incredible services to our ECD programs on incapacitating them on how they can continuously support early learning programs with this process. So if we look at our Go Live plan just for the silver document upload, we have already sent out information to all the early learning programs that's been registered at the bronze level to tell them what are the templates, what are the documents, and what are the minimum norms and standards they need to comply with. Last week, we briefed all the NGOs that's been part of this journey with us on what the next phase look like. And we've been scheduling training sessions on training them in this week going onwards on how they can help with, for instance, a readiness assessment. They can give us information on where are the areas of support an ECD program need. Is it infrastructure support? Is it health and safety support? Or is it just information support that they require? And we'll continuously work with civil society partners in walking this journey with ECD programs to enable them to meet their norms and standards. So our ask is for anyone that's interested to assist with ECD programs, with preparing for this silver gold registration, do reach out to us. We know.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ma'am Kotze. We'll then move to the next one. I think we're back to you, Dr. Taylor.
Sure. Thank you, Chair. Let me just share the screen again. One moment. Should be seeing it now, Chairperson, and we're almost in full screen mode. Continually under review and being implemented across the provinces. Some of the highlights from this strategy include mapping of all programs in the sector. Part of that is to provide better coordination of all the different forms of reading support. There are also key partnerships with NGOs and other organizations working in the reading and literacy space, which is a core part of the strategy. Part of the strategy also focuses on libraries, not only school libraries, but library corners in foundation phase classrooms and mobile libraries. Then an exciting development is a Reading Champions program, which is something being done through the Basic Education Employment Initiative, which is part of the broader Presidential Youth Employment Initiative. The department is also finalizing a language foundation phase minimum package towards the national catalogue. So that will also be an important development towards providing all the necessary reading materials for learning to read, in particular in all the African languages. Then, one of the particular SONA commitments that has been made and reiterated a few times over the last few years is towards the implementation of an early grade reading program, which provides a package of support to foundation phase classrooms and teachers, consisting of lesson plans aligned to the curriculum, additional reading support materials, and professional support to foundation phase teachers. We have shown how this combination of support has had lasting impacts on reading comprehension, especially when focused on learning to read in the home language. The program is now being extended. It's been run in parts of the Northwest and parts of the Mpumalanga province, and is now being extended to the Northern Cape province with a new focus on support to multi-grade schools, which provide a particular challenge for teachers needing to teach across the grades in one classroom. The department has also led the development of reading benchmarks for all our African languages. What these reading benchmarks focus on is the precursor reading skills that children need to be developing in grades 1, 2, and 3 in order to be on track to read with comprehension by grade 4. And these kinds of benchmarks have long existed around the world in other languages such as English, but in the last few years the department has led the development of benchmarks that are specific to each of our languages, because the language orthographies and structures differ across the languages, and therefore we needed benchmarks that were also sensitive to those characteristics. The picture shows some of the reports which are available on the DBE website. And then we're aiming to measure progress to see how many children are reaching these key benchmarks in grades 1, 2, and 3 in these precursor reading skills across the languages. We're doing that through the Fundo Phumelele National Reading Study, where we've tested children in a nationally representative sample of schools, and later this year the results should be coming out to provide a baseline measure of how we're doing in the different languages and across the provinces at reaching these precursor reading skills necessary in order to be on track to read with meaning later on. There are other important monitoring and measurement initiatives in the sector around reading, such as the South African Systemic Evaluation, which also measures comprehension by the end of grade 3. So thank you. That's just a small highlights package of some of the work going on within the context of early grade reading and literacy. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you. Thanks very much, Dr. Taylor. We then move to Advocate.
Thank you, Chair. Morning, Chair, Minister, DG, and everyone on the platform. My name is William Njwandi, Director Legal Services within the Department of Basic Education. Next slide, please. The presentation is actually pertains to the presentation pertains to the development of departmental regulations, and by extension, the implementation of the Basic Education Laws Amendment Act as prescribed by SASSA, subsequent to the signing of the Act into law. The South African Skills Act has been in operation since 1996, and it has been implementable on its own. Why we're saying the Act has been implementable on its own? Because of the language used in the Act itself. Section 61 provides or authorizes the Minister to develop certain regulations for the department. The Act provides that the Minister may, that's the language used in the Act itself, may on discretionary, that is the discretion given to the regulations if a need arises. There are a certain regulations the Minister has since started developing subsequent to the signing of the Act. This is the list of those regulations. Management of learner pregnancy. There is an empowering provision on the right, Section 61AA, admission of learners to public schools. prohibition of payment of unauthorized remuneration is also referred to Section 38, capital letter A of the Act, minimum norms and standards for provincial educator development, organization roles and responsibility of education district, National Education Information System regulation relating to registration for and administration of home education. This is the only guideline in the Act that empowers the minister to develop guideline on the adoption of code of conduct for learner by governing bodies. This is the only one. It actually carries enforceability. Then the next one will actually be a regulation on the election of members of the governing bodies and the uniform norms and standards for capacity. It's all the determination of capacity at the public school. Subsequent to the signing of the Act into law on the 24th of December 2024, task teams were established by the DG. These task teams were actually led by the relevant line managers to assist members of the task team in developing these regulations. Legal also sits in these task teams. The role of legal is to guide the members as to when they develop these regulations, what legal processes they actually must take into cognizance of. First, there must have been an empowering provision for the minister to develop a regulation. That's very, very important. And also, the regulation itself must not contradict what the Act is saying. Meaning, the role of the regulation should be understood to mean that if a provision is actually illustrated in the role of the regulation is to explain how to achieve what is intended for in the Act itself. This is the list of the task team members responsible for the development of, I can't see now, of stakeholders. This is the list of the task team members. These are the days that have actually been the days of meetings convened during the development of these regulations. These regulations were drafted, reviewed them, and sent to the ministry for further legal consideration. Next slide, please. This actually is the list of members of the task team when it comes to the development institute and district education development. These are the meetings, and the number of meetings convened by these actually members. But the progress to date with regard to these regulations, there are deliberations within the department, between the ministry, between the office of the DG on actually the way forward. And further consultations are also sourced from the teacher unions. They are yet to be sent to the office of the chief state law advisor. I'm going to speak to later. This is another, this regulation pertains to the learner pregnancy. The internal processes have since been undertaken and meetings have been held internally within the department. And the progress to date is actually that these regulations have gone through the legal processes, through the legal unit within the department, and ministry has actually given input as to what should be added in the regulations themselves. They are yet to be sent to OSHA subsequent to once the department is actually approved. We actually work in collaboration with the relevant line function before any document regulation is sent to OSHA for constitutional vetting. Next slide, please. These are members of the task team led again by the relevant line function on the unauthorized remuneration to certain employees. These are the meetings held to date, and there has been a series of meetings between the line function, the legal section, as well as the ministry. But the inputs actually collated from the members of the task team, the stakeholders within the education sector, and those organizations with vested interest in the education sector have since been collated, and the document has since been sent to the ministry for further interrogation. Once that process is actually undertaken and complete, the document will be sent to OSHA also for constitutional vetting. Next slide, please. These regulations are within the department. These are the number of meetings that actually were held to date. And the regulations were drafted and sent to Oxley. Opinion was also received from Oxley. Oxley, the Office of the Chief State Lord, but I think it's important to highlight this, their role, is an entity within the Department of Justice responsible for constitutional vetting of all documents referred to them by government departments. These regulations on capacity were sent to Oxley, and Oxley declared them to be constitutionally sound. They were referred to the department for Oxley's input, legal input. Those inputs were shared within the department, and there was a need that further information should be added in these regulations. These regulations were resubmitted to Oxley for further interrogation. And remember as well, if Oxley declared the document to any amendments subsequent to the declaration must actually be indicated to Oxley, and reasons thereof, most especially if it disagrees with Oxley's input. This is another task team capacity as well. These are the members. It's actually composed of 45 members. The representation of these members is actually individuals, union formations, organizations with vested interest once again in the education sector. The regulations were drafted and sent to Oxley as well, and first draft was actually received with input, and during the reconsideration of those inputs from Oxley and added information, that document was resubmitted to Oxley for further interrogation before a document is actually placed on publication. Next slide, please. This actually, the regulation pertains to the election of SGP members. These are the task team members. These are the number of meetings held to date, and this is the progress to date. The deliberations have since been undertaken, and the document have gone through the departmental processes for approval, and later it will actually be sent to the ministry for their intake or consideration. Next slide, please. This is another task team that was established to develop these regulations. As you can see, the first person, legal person, to guide these task team members as to what to consider on what will be the legal consequences on what they're actually doing, and also how to guide them to align the document to constitutionally and make them constitutionally sound. And guidelines is drafted under deliberations as we speak to date. They are yet to be sent to Oxley as well. The guidelines I actually referred to earlier. The minister is empowered as per Section 8 that the minister can only develop in line with the prescripts as actually indicated in the Principal Act on the development of Code of Conduct for learners. These are the meetings held to date or convened, and resolutions have been developed and deliberated.